Today on the Ave Podcast, it's time to get into some basketball right now. Some NBA talk. I haven't done it since the NBA season previews. The first quarter is over now. We've seen the usual headlines, but I want to get into some other topics. And as my guest on this episode, Anthony Batchelor, the all-time leading scorer in Canadian basketball history, and still is, plus South Shirab family member Big Brother Curtis, as we discuss the rise of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and if OKC should just forget their Wembenyama passions and build around him. Plus Bol Bol versus Wemby, I'll explain later. Plus our surprising teams and players of this first quarter. Boston and Milwaukee just levitating over the rest of the NBA. We break out some Benny Mathurin talks and a whole lot more. All right? I'm ready to go, but before I start, I want you to know, as always, that wherever you listen to podcasts, South Shirab is there, like State Farm. More importantly, though, rate, review, and subscribe. Leave those comments. Plus, hit me like blackjack when it comes to those 5-star ratings. It drives the show forward, as I keep saying, once you do that. And it takes you about 2.7 seconds of your time. Just like that. Boom. Just like that. And check out SouthShirab.com wherever you listen to podcasts as well. And seeing that I'm in that Flashback Friday mode, if you haven't checked out my latest episode about Brett Favre and the Mississippi welfare scandal or the R&B fantasy draft, don't hesitate, don't pause, don't stagger or slip. All right, don't miss out on these episodes. Again, wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as the South Shirab YouTube channel. Double back on it. It's the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Shirab Radio. Let's get it.
Welcome to the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Shirab Radio.
Welcome to the Ave Podcast, where I'm joined by the South Shirab family member, Big Brother Curtis, as well as the all-time Canadian college basketball scorer, Anthony Batchelor. How you guys doing today, sir? Sirs, I should say.
Good. I'm good. Anthony, you gonna let them know how I guided you to that record-breaking feast?
Say what?
Under my tutelage, you got that record-breaking feat of being Canada's number one. We won't go into all of that, but anyhow, yeah. Carry on.
Right.
This is the part where you take all recognition for yourself, Anthony. This is the part right here. We stick your chest out.
I'm a humble man. I'll prove that on the court when I see you guys on Sundays.
But like I said, man, I got you guys here to talk about this NBA season so far. We're about a quarter of the way through. I mean, there's a lot going on right now in terms of some of these players, Canadian players, balling right now, and which we're gonna get into in a minute. Plus the Celtics and the Bucks. I like to call Wemby versus Bol Bol because I think that might be a thing coming next season. But I want to start with the Canadian talent. I want to start with SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, with SGA basically jumping a level right now. Are we still trying to free him from Oklahoma City, or should he stand pat and let Oklahoma City build around him? And I guess we'll start with the Canadians' all-time scorer. Go ahead.
What I think you probably should just leave him there for now. The thing is, all these draft picks they have really doesn't make no sense. But at the same time, you can tell that with the draft picks, they're probably just trying to take advantage of Shai to begin with. So I think it's really on him, on what he wants to do. He can end up making a move the same way DeJounte Murray did. And basically, it's going to come down to money. Can you afford to keep him with all these the up-and-coming guys on OKC to begin with?
Well, remember, he just signed his max, I think last summer, not this summer, but the summer before. So he's on that 5-year, $173 million contract. So, I mean, they can afford to do it right now just because they're not paying anybody, right?
Right. But now you give another 2-3 years, you get Chet. I'll say give Chet and Holmgren 2 years to get it together. I mean, he's going to be a prodigy in his own, especially with this Frenchman coming in. It's going to be a battle of the bigs now, these hybrids in a sense.
Yeah.
So, do you not put all your faith from Shai, given that he does have a couple of injuries that were problematic? Is there something that these guys know more than the people on the outside? Is it something worth giving them money for? Do you get people to kind of support Chet and build around him instead? I don't know. It's a tough division that they're in. So keeping Shai there probably necessarily won't be the best idea. At the same time, Shai may not want to stay there even longer. He may want to go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's tough because I mean, right now where the trajectory is with him, I mean, he's slated to make his first All-Star game. He might even start. It's interesting with him though what you do with him though, because I mean, what defines a superstar? You know what I mean? Like, you have a guy right now that's averaging 31, 5, and 6. I mean, those are like prime MJ numbers. You know what I'm saying? And like, you look at his stats, like this guy's, I didn't realize he's shooting 50% from the field and he's actually averaging 93% from the line. So like, you know what I mean? Like the numbers that he's putting up at this rate, it seems pretty sustainable based on the way he plays. And what do you do in that sense, right? Like I think Oklahoma's in a situation where it's like, okay, we're rebuilding, but you know, we want to, you know, get on this Wembenyama lottery, but these sweepstakes, but I mean, this guy's really hooping right now. You know, like, do you still, because I mean, if you trade Shai right now, you're still going to be, you're going back to winning like 15 to 20 games. You know what I mean? Like every year, like how they've been doing. But the way this guy's made that leap, like it kind of forces them. And the thing with them is they got so much draft picks, as you mentioned, that, I mean, do you really want to, like, I guess, commit to the bottom? You know what I mean? Like, he's doing too well right now. So I don't know if you sell high at this point, or do you just kind of really build around him? Because I think you can. I think there's a case where you can build around this guy. You know what I mean? What do you think, Eric?
Well, at some point for OKC, they got to get a baseline, and I think he's their baseline. I think he's proven. You said, is he a superstar? Yeah, for sure. I think he's a superstar. If anybody had told me I would be saying that, like, when he was coming into the league, hell no, I wouldn't have been saying that. If anybody tells you that they thought it as well, hell no, they're lying. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think anybody saw this coming, but he's taken more than one leap. He's taken 2 or 3. And for his draft class, like, I can't recall who was in his draft class, but he's probably on top of his draft class right now if they were to redraft. I mean, the kid, to me, he's a superstar. Not only is he putting up numbers, but I think he's like top 3 and scoring in the paint.
Yeah. In
the league. Like, the way he's scoring is like going back to the old school way of scoring just efficient and doing it, you know, the old school ways. Like, he's not shooting a lot of threes. He takes a handful of threes a game, but he makes them when he takes them. To me, he's a superstar, and I think at some point, to be bottom feeders for all this time, OKC's got to set a baseline. They got a kid who's definitely shown that he can be that guy, and they can build around. And, I mean, the team is so young. If you get rid of him, I mean, he's young himself. What is he, like 24 or something? Yeah. So he's pretty young himself. So, like, you get rid of him, you got a bunch of like really young kids. It's another 2-3 years before they know how to play in this league and how to win in this league. I mean, he's young, but he's shown that he can do it. He's shown that he can lead them, and he's doing it against everybody, like day in and day out. Everybody, he's giving them buckets, you know. So I think you stay with him. He just signed that big contract. Let that play out. See how it goes, and you gotta give your fans something to come to the games for. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think you keep him.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at, I mean, what defines a superstar to you? Because, like, for me, you know, is it salary? You know, that's a check mark right there for him. Is it commercial appeal? You know, basically like on style and swagger, he already has that in spades, and I think it would be showcased larger if he was in a bigger market. But being that he's in OKC, you're not really seeing the effects of that right now in terms of commercial appeal, which I think is probably going to be coming to him just now if it hasn't already. You know, is it competitiveness? I mean, to me, I don't know if you guys want to play the comparison game, but he kind of reminds me of, like, remember when Gilbert Arenas got to the Wizards and he went from like 18, 19 points a game to like all of a sudden he was doing 30 in like less than 2 years. You know, and to me, he's kind of become that. Like, you don't, you know, everybody likes to say, like, you know, somebody has to score the bucket, somebody has to get the stats when you're on a bad team, right? And I can understand when you're like a 20-point scorer, you can make that excuse. But you don't average 25 a game in the league, no matter what team you play on, and that's just because somebody has to get the stats. And this man is averaging 31. You know, so to me, that tells me that his confidence is extremely high. He's mastered his game right now. He understands the technical aspects of getting to the line, and on top of that, you got to be in great shape to maintain that like night after night. You know what I mean? So to me, I'm like, I'm kind of like if I'm I forgot the GM's name for OKC. I'll come to me in a minute, but like if sorry, who was it again?
Presti.
Sam Presti. Yeah, Sam Presti. So if I'm Sam Presti, I got to start thinking now, like, okay, like what I have here now is like, this is elite right now. Like, do I really want to scrap this? Like, I got to start thinking, like, maybe we have enough right now. Maybe Chet is a Wembenyana light. You know what I'm saying? He's a Wemby light, maybe. You know, and then you got Giddey. Like, we're forgetting about guys like Josh Giddey. We're forgetting about Luguentz Dort. You know what I mean? Jalen Williams. Like, they got some players on this team, and they're winning. Like that game they played I think earlier in the week against Atlanta, it was basically because of Shai is why they won that game. And they were down like 15, and he basically just willed them back to win, right? And that's a pretty good Atlanta squad, even though they're kind of having their issues too. But I mean, for a team like OKC, like that's a big win, and that was on the road too, you know. So
I actually like the Atlanta game because, you know, you got two elite guards at the other end, right?
Right, and one that plays like serious D, right? Yeah. Like I said, man, I think it's a situation where it's like, you know, for him right now, you get your money, what you got, you just get better, you build your foundation in one place. You kind of follow that Lillard path, like in terms of just being in one place right now and just build your name in the community, build your name up with the team, with the franchise, have everybody thinking anytime they think of OKC, they thinking of you. And then you're building leverage later, because if you're still stockpiling all this talent within yourself and you're getting all these accolades and everything else, if you want to change paths later and play for somebody else, there's going to be like many teams that are going to be coming for you. You know what I mean?
He's again, I didn't see this coming. I tip my hat to him because the kid is balling.
Even from with the Clippers, just before they traded him that year.
No, but I didn't see. I knew he was going to hold his own in the league, but to be averaging 30 plus, like,
right.
You know, that's crazy. I was like, again, I don't think anybody saw him averaging 30 plus. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to tell me you did, then I'm calling you a liar.
I thought he'd be good. Like what he was averaging the last couple of years, which is about 23, 24, somewhere around there. I thought that was fast, but I thought like he's gonna be that kind of player at the very least. Yeah, I'm with you. I wasn't expecting this. Like this is crazy. Like I said, OKC's got some real talent, man. Like they got some real good young talent coming up. And what do you guys think of Chet though? Because I'm still kind of like on the fence with him.
From what I saw, basically with Chet, I think he'll do well. He just got to put some meat on his bones, man. He's gonna get. I mean, the game is too quick now, so even off of the endurance perspective, I don't think his body would be able to handle the NBA schedule. Mm-hmm. So for him, it might be a blessing in disguise that he actually got injured, because now he can actually physically get better, put on some muscle, and then from there, kind of work his way out in terms of how to be ready for the league, because now he can just kind of see what the schedule's like through this first year, and then kind of get that veteran leadership from others, and then kind of just adjust to it in his first official year, and then play against others. I mean, you can get scouting reports, see how to go ahead and go about the game at that. But again, you can watch a game, but being in shape and then being in game shape is completely different. So I'm pretty sure he'll have the rest, but at the same time, I think the knowledge that he'll gain off of just being surrounded by these guys will be more vital if anything. So I think he'll be all right.
I agree with Anthony in regards to sometimes it's good when you consider a year. It's kind of like a redshirt year in college. You know, sometimes you grow, you get stronger, visually watch the game, see what's going on, and learn behind the scenes. But regardless, I don't think his weight would have been an issue. I think the league. No, I think the league plays in his favor. It's not like he's going to go out there and be, a center position and bang it in the big. He's going to handle the ball outside. He's going to shoot his jumpers. He's got a good enough touch from outside that it's going to be respected, that he's going to have to come out. He's going to take his 2 dribbles, pull up. I think the kid can play. I think it's interesting now. You're going to have in the next year or two, you're going to have 3 legit 7-footers who are playing, small ball. It's almost like the new wave that's coming in. So it's going to be interesting, how the league adapts to that. But it's not a bang all in the post league anymore. So it kind of reminds me when Kevin Durant came in. I'm not comparing him to Kevin Durant, but when Kevin Durant came in, everybody was like, he's too skinny. He's going to get mashed up. And I was like, the kid is too skilled at his height for you to affect his game.
But do you feel that way watching? Again, I know you're not comparing them, but do you feel that way watching Chet? Because I'm still on the fence a little bit. Like defensively, I think he's got it though. Defensively, he's got it, but
I think offensively, I think he's going to give you problems because he's got his length is there, and he can take his 2-3 dribbles. He can definitely dribble. He can definitely handle the ball, especially for his size. He's gonna get his looks. Once you rise up and a 6'7" guy is playing you, what are you gonna do? You're gonna bump him in the waist. You're gonna get the foul. He's gonna go to the line. Any kind of bump in this league, you're gonna go to the foul. You're gonna get the foul anyhow. So like that length is hard to. A skilled player with that length, that's on in a league that's calling touch fouls. Come on. He's gonna get his buckets.
Yo, but like I said, I guess it's a system, right? Because watching him play at Gonzaga, I mean, there was some games where I'm like, are we sure this is like the surefire number 1 pick? But I know sometimes a system could do that.
College ball is totally different.
Yeah. I know it could do that too. Because when you watch them in summer league, you're like bringing the ball up end to end up the court, shooting threes, talking shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right.
This is entertainment. College ball isn't entertainment.
Yeah.
College ball, the coaches rule. NBA, the players rule. And the people are paying to see the players. That this is totally different. This game is made for kids like that.
But speaking of which, though, like I've been making the joke since the season started that with all the Wembenyama highlights, like does Bol Bol watch them and get annoyed because he was that guy coming into Oregon with that similar uniqueness. You remember? Like I mean, you talked about this, Curtis. This guy's averaged 21 and 10 in the Pac-12. Sorry, breaks his foot. He falls all the way to the second round. He gets bumped around the league. This is like his 3rd team right now, and now he's on a team that's kind of let him loose right now. Right? He's averaging like about 11 and 7, and every game he's making an impact on either side of the floor, if not both ends every night. But if I'm Bol Bol, do I feel hate or happiness seeing Wemby get put on right now? So Anthony, I'll start with you.
Let me go second on that one, please.
What's that?
Let me go second on that one.
He wants to go second with that one.
Yeah, I'll go second on that one.
I think he's probably been vexed for the last 2 years listening to this Wemby, Wemby kid coming in the league. Because again, we spoke about him for so long. He was an enigma in high school. He went to Oregon. He showed out. He broke his leg, as you said, or hurt his foot, whatever the case was, and all of a sudden he dropped out of the face of the earth. And I couldn't understand it.
Yeah, it made no sense to me when it was happening.
Like, how the hell he went to the second round, I could not figure that out. I'm like, how like, the NBA jumps to every all-American high school kid. They give them so much leeway because of potential. And here you had a 7'2" kid who was shooting it, doing fadeaway threes at Oregon, and everybody forgets about him because he hurts his leg, and now he's injury prone. And I think this whole Wembley thing is probably having foaming at the mouth, waiting for his opportunity, which he's getting now. So I mean, I think it'll be great to see him battle with Chet, battle with Wemby. It'll be a freak show.
It's like King Kong and Godzilla just destroying buildings on a regular basis.
I mean, the kids balling, man. The kids, what is I just pulled out a stat. He's shooting 41% from threes right now.
Wow. 60%
overall, 41% from threes. Averaging 12. Come on, the kid can play, man.
Yeah,
he can play.
He's
12.5.
He's got
41 from threes. That's crazy.
He still has to polish the edges out though. Rough, he's still a little rougher on the edges. Like when you watch that Raptor game, and I mean there was a play where he was trying to take Van Vliet off the dribble, and he ended up running himself out of bounds. You know what I mean? But
Wemby is more polished. He's more clean. But to that, he's been playing, and that's to give the French credit in their system, right?
Yeah,
he's been playing pros for so long and against real men, and he's more polished. You can see his game is more polished. But Bol's got his upside is really good. He's 7'2". He's shooting 41.3 from 3 points from the 3-point line.
But it's
60% overall.
But what's crazy though? When the season started, I remember to a man, every player, including Paulo himself, was really talking highly about Bol Bol. And I was like, yeah, even when the season was starting, I'm like, yo, he's got to be watching these highlights. Yo, what the hell is going on here, man? What do I have to do to get noticed? Because again, he went from when he went to Denver, he didn't play at all. He got traded to Detroit, barely played there. You know what I mean? So it's like to start off the season, it was you could see he came with an edge, and I think some of it has to do with that. So I think it's a mixture of both hate and happiness, because I think it's a motivating factor where he's probably tired of hearing Victor's name, but at the same time, it's putting that shine and that automatic comparison just based on their style of play and their size. The uniqueness, it's kind of putting it into play that this could be a thing next year, But I'm happy for him though, because to your point, there was no reason why he should have dropped that far. If I was even late first round, the Raptors, I'm thinking
I was surprised the Raptors didn't grab him.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, he's fallen. He's bigger than, and I was like, oh my god.
Did he?
I couldn't believe he fell that low.
Did he say something in the combines? The workouts? What did he say? What did he do? Shit, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. Batch, you're kind of quiet. I know you said you wanted to wait.
Yeah, nah, because the reason why I wanted to wait is because I just wanted to hear what your take was on it.
Okay.
And this is no way, shape, or form of hate, but in terms of he's putting up numbers, but then going against defensive teams, he disappears. So Milwaukee, he takes only 4 shots, scores 2 points, 2 boards, 2 assists.
Yeah.
Cleveland, 3 points, 1 for 3, 1 3-pointer, 7 boards, but I believe there was no Jared Allen in. 4 turnovers, 3 blocks, 2 steals.
The first time he played them, he played well though. Didn't he have about 18 the first time they played against Cleveland?
First time they played Cleveland, he had 9 and 10.
Oh yeah, 9. Okay, there you go.
So he when I feel that the scouting report is not out on him yet. So he's doing what he should be doing. But I feel that when that scouting report's now his, and he's on it, I think a lot of that will change, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's his game is more so he has 1 or 2 moves. He doesn't have enough counters for him to adjust his game so that he can become a problem. His measurements alone are problematic, but when it comes game time, is he able to adjust to what he's seeing on the court? So I think that Milwaukee game alone, being that was the last game they had, he has been killing, and then to have 2 points, and only 2 boards. I find that.
I mean, they're
I
like the
would
best team.
accept
They're the best defensive team in the league, though, with size. So,
Yeah,
you know,
but now let's put it this way: Milwaukee almost lost to them. They didn't blow them out. I would expect that to be a blowout, but Orlando still held their own. So they did something right at least to slow them down. But he wasn't so much of a factor or actually, I shouldn't say that. On paper, he's not so much of a factor, but the numbers he would put up in other games, you see it. So unless you're watching these games, you don't really see it unless you're watching, pretty much.
I didn't watch it. Did he get in foul trouble? I just looked at his stats. He only played 19 minutes.
He played 19 minutes. Only had 1 foul. So I think because he plays, it's either he's matched up either against, because there's no Brook Lopez that game. So he's either matched up against Bobby Portis or Giannis. So that right there alone, the matchups are going to be difficult for him.
Yeah, they're going to beat him up.
And there it is. And then it goes back to what I was saying with Chet, with the size. So necessarily the size may not be an issue, but when it comes to matchups, that's where the problem comes in.
I think the one thing with Bol Bol where he kind of differs from Victor is on the defensive side of the floor. He's not like for all the size and stuff, he's not the greatest defensively. You know what I mean? Where you see highlights, I mean, they're playing in different leagues, but when you see like Wemby, he looks like the timing, everything is like he's got it. Like, you know that looks like it could translate to the next level. Whereas with him, you feel like he still has to work on it. I'm not saying he can't get there, but it looks like he still has to, like, he doesn't have the same passion for it the way that Victor does, at least defensively. You know what I mean? At least from what I could see.
Wemby's about to be the next cheat code next to Steph. From what I've seen, what that guy's doing, I don't think I've ever seen a 7-footer other than Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he's clean. He's clean with it.
Yeah.
He's clean. I just want to see when these guys mature, like 5 years down what it looks like. 5 years down the line, what it looks like.
Because that one, I think I sent it to you, Kurt. That one where there was a loose ball and he basically went through everybody between his legs like Steph, and then shot the one-legged 3, all in one sink. Like when you see that, it's like you're kind of like shit. Because my thing with Victor is, and I'm still gonna hold on to this a little bit, where the talent is undeniable. The thing I always question is he going to, even somebody like him, because even though he's lanky, you can see as like a decent frame to him, at least a more solid frame than like a Bol Bol or a Chet. But my problem is any guy that's 7'4" plus playing in the NBA always have injury history, like all the way down. And he's 7'4". So my thing is he going to last? And if he does, I'm not saying he can't, but if he does, he's probably going to be the first 7'4" guy to like have a lengthy career that doesn't get hurt. Most of these guys always, and right down to your ex-teammate, Curtis, Rick Smits, always got foot problems, especially when they're lanky and stuff like that. You know, for Porzingis to Sean Bradley to, you know what I mean? Like everywhere, and then from like, you know, Ilgostis to Yao Ming, like there's all these guys that are that tall. They always have lower extremity injuries. So that's why I'm still like, as much as I love the highlights, I'm kind of like, okay, is he gonna have a healthy career? Ralph Sampson's another one, right? So that to me is like where I'm like, I just want to see. I need to see like if he's gonna, you know, I'm not even talking like the next 10 years, but even like 2-3 years, he's gonna play like 75 plus games. Like, is that gonna be a thing?
Well, that's the what do you call it? The whole Zion thing too. He's going to stay healthy, but the talent is so enormous. You roll the dice.
You gotta take it. you gotta take it.
But hold on, can't they just play him the same way that Denver plays? They're big, and Jokic is the last one coming down, sets up the offense, runs it out. But now,
yeah, but this kid is his whole game is he plays quick. I don't think he can slow it down for just to save his health. He's gonna instinctively run the court. Instinctively, he's going to play hard. And I
But
think
then
you can't slow that down.
But as a franchise, you may have to, especially if the statistics show that these bigs are continuously getting hurt. You may have to play it that way.
Yeah, but that's almost like the story where people are like, "Oh, you should shut it down and just train to get and wait for the NBA." And he was like, "Nah, I'm playing."
Yeah, I don't.
He's a competitor.
I wouldn't agree with
that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that either.
Yeah.
Not a
He's
whole
a competitor.
season. Not a whole. If it was a tournament or something, maybe one thing. But a whole season, I don't know. You can't do that.
So let me ask you this question: then, if you're playing against a team such as Golden State, where they're averaging 104 possessions a game, or let's say playing against OKC, I think they're one of the fastest paced teams in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes up against OKC. Do you run him at their pace, or do you say no, we're gonna slow these guys down? We want you to trail a lot, and you know what? Bring their bigs out. Have Chet guard you from the outside because Chet is more dangerous in the inside. Make him guard you on the perimeter. Get him in foul trouble. Now it turns into, again, goes back to the whole matchup thing. So,
but that's all matchups though. That's game to game,
Yeah. How many teams are actually running quick now? Because again, something like that. Like who knows what team will end up getting this guy? Because I feel like.
Yeah, there's so many teams trying to like fight their way down to the bottom of the pit. You know what I mean? So it's hard to say which one it would be. Detroit's a good nominee though. I'll tell you that much.
No, he better not.
Who would you want to see? Who would you want to see him at?
I want to see him in Utah.
Really?
In Utah?
Why?
Yeah, I want to see him in Utah. You want to know? Because the thing is, myself. And I'm pretty sure everyone else thought that Utah had zero chance of winning any of these games. And the thing is, they've actually shown more so because they play committee basketball. That ball moves, they're able to win games. So you have someone like that, they're missing a big. They have Kessler, who I feel is a sleeper. That guy's pretty nice. But I don't think he has it in him to play a solid 30 minutes. Now, you put Victor out there, pair him up with Markkanen. And then you have, I'm pretty sure Clarkson will be gone by that time. But then you got those other guys. What's the kid from Kansas that hasn't really getting a lot of burn, but on the defensive end he can do it. So I feel like on Utah he'll flourish more because Utah, in a sense, they're in the Western Conference. There's not a lot of bigs that are quick. They all a lot of them play on the outside, other than Jokic. Unless I'm missing somebody. Everybody else plays in the paint. He would end up creating a lot of mismatches for the Western Conference alone.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to play small ball with him. So they would make themselves a prime team to actually make the playoffs at least. Not saying they'll win the championship, but their rebuild will get sped up.
They're ninth right now. They're actually in the play-in. They're like
12.
But they lost the last bunch of their games though. That they're sliding down.
There you go, for a reason.
Yeah.
They started off on fire, and it's almost like, wait a minute, you guys really that good? And it makes you think, let me watch a couple of these Utah games. They're really not that bad. But then now, how they're starting to slide, I'm like, yeah, it's starting to make sense now. Because you already know, commissioner's already keeping an eye on it. I don't want teams tanking purposely to get this guy. Well, let's be serious. They want this guy. At the end of the day, I just hope he doesn't go to Detroit because Dwayne Casey's rotation scheme is just horrible.
Oh my god!
And,
it's like I don't want to go there. That brings back some bad memories. Shit.
Yo, you know what was crazy about that? Because we have, I'm all for my black coaches. I'm like Dave Chappelle with the black actors. Like with the Chappelle show. Like I ride with black coaches all day. But the way what's his face started hooping the moment he left, Siakam. Like the moment he left and the moment he started, it was like, yo, this guy's an all-star. You're just like, damn, Casey, you really couldn't see that? And I remember the comments was hilarious because he was like, hinting that Nurse is just basically doing the same thing that he was doing the whole time. But I'm like, yeah, but you weren't playing Siakam. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you can say what you want to say, but you weren't playing. Siakam was coming off the bench still. And to your point, like, you know, and it's kind of like almost like with Golden State where Mark Jackson had, you know, like everybody was, you know, and I love Mark Jackson for what he did with Golden State, but he wasn't playing Draymond Green. It was only when Steve Kerr started playing him, that's when he became Draymond. Right? So it's like, what were you guys kind of waiting on? Because it was like it happened the next year. It wasn't like 2-3 years later. It happened the next year. So, I mean, if Detroit gets somebody like Victor, I mean, he's not going to have a choice. He's going to have to play him. Or he's going to get fired like immediately. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I want to see him to go to Detroit either. I think it would be interesting if he got to the Spurs. I think if he got to just look at the right now, like even Houston. Actually, I don't know if I want to go to Houston.
Orlando. Him and Bol Bol together.
With Paulo?
With Paulo. Him, Bol Bol, and Paulo.
Who's getting the touches? Who's getting the touches? That team is getting too crowded now.
Yo, I don't care. That'll just be crazy. Who cares about the touches? I just want to see that. I'll be freakish.
Well, you say that, but what is Ben Carroll going to say about that?
Listen. I'm just dreaming. Just let me dream for a bit.
My bad. All right, my bad.
But
damn it!
You know,
Jeez.
You know who wouldn't be happy about that? Bol Bol.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he'll be pissed because he'll be on the short end of the stick between the three of them.
Yeah, it'll be Denver all over again.
The Twin Towers, man. Like we'll go back to Akeem and Samson.
No.
You really went back. You said Akeem and Samson. Jeez.
I'm going back.
I thought you were gonna hit off with Tim Duncan and Derek Robinson, but you were.
And that's why I don't want to see him go. I don't want to see him go to Spurs. But I just.
You don't want to see him go to Spurs? No, you don't think he would develop well at the Spurs with the Spurs?
Yeah, you know what? Because I think Popovich and them played the system so well that they're gonna end up getting them, and I don't want to see it. They played the system too well. They got rid of their pieces, set this shit up, you know. Now they're in last place again. You know, they fooled everybody. They fooled everybody at the beginning.
They're the second worst team in the league right now.
He said it from the beginning of the season, though. He said, listen, I don't expect us to win games.
Yeah, I know. He said that. Yeah.
They're too young.
Yeah. He's going to get another Tim Duncan again.
Hey, man. But hold on. A lot of people weren't on Tim Duncan like that, though.
Tim Duncan was the man. Are you kidding?
No.
Tim Duncan was the man coming out of college.
When he came out of college, though, how many people were coming after Tim Duncan, though?
Oh, no, they were.
Were they?
Tim Duncan was the man.
Hell yeah.
Tim Duncan was the man coming out.
I'm not saying he wasn't the man.
He could have been the number one player from his sophomore year. He stayed 4 years. The only reason why he wasn't the number one player is because he didn't want to come out of college.
Yeah, Tim Duncan was he was big dog.
And think about it, he was an All NBA player, first team his rookie year. So everybody wanted that. I don't remember what the hype was, but But I mean, I remember when they tanked too, right?
Unanimous first.
You think if he didn't go first, you think he would have went second to Philly?
Who?
Tim Duncan, if he didn't get drafted number one, do you think he would have went number two?
He's Tim Duncan coming out. Like if somebody wasn't stupid enough to take him first, the other person would take the best player available. Tim Duncan.
But listen to what you just said. If they were dumb enough not to take him, the same way they took Samson over Jordan.
Oh, you mean Olajuwon? You mean?
No,
it was Olajuwon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Olajuwon.
It was Olajuwon.
It wasn't Samson. No, it wasn't
myself mixed up?
No,
it wasn't Samson.
It wasn't Samson. The Houston took Olajuwon over Jordan.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you could argue that move, but then it worked out.
Yeah, I was gonna say you took him over him, but I'm like, is Houston mad? Not really.
No, sorry, not Hakeem Olajuwon. No, I'm getting mixed up. Sam Bowie getting picked up for Jordan. And that's what I meant.
Oh, because they had Drexler. They had Drexler the year before.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, they had Drexler already, and like, yeah, Drexler was up and coming, and then at that time the league was bigs. You know, you play through your bigs, right? Sam Bowie, you know, if the injuries didn't happen, it's, you know, we could have been talking about him right now, about being one of the top 10 big guys of all time.
He was that nice coming out of college.
Yeah, the guy was legit. Soft hands, can score in the post, could defend, didn't fall out, smart. The guy can play.
But his body was made out of
glass. Sambu was the real deal.
But I mean, it's funny because you can look at OKC too, right? With like, if they get the number 1 pick, like, do they draft him as well and just pair him with Chet and of course Shai?
That would be. I would highly question.
If you have the number 1 pick, you take the best player, and you figure that shit out.
Yeah, but then oh my gosh, that would be weird.
If you don't want Bol, like if you make up your mind and say you both of them can't play together, then you get rid of Bol Bol. But you know,
no, I'm talking about OKC now. Forget Orlando. I'm
talking about OKC. I'm talking about OKC. Okay.
Because if they get Chet, like if they already have Chet, if they get Victor with Chet, like do they like if they get number 1 pick, do they pair them up
Yep.
With Poku.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Poku. Well, they'll trade Poku in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Would you really though?
I mean, he can come off the bench. He knows he's not gonna, like he knows it's not geared for him to be the man.
I'm trying to figure out why he's not getting the playing time.
Yeah, he's a 7-footer too, right? But
he's efficient though.
But I'm thinking too, like, can you imagine if OKC got the number 1 pick and decided they didn't want to keep him? Can you imagine the amount of picks they would get back? I mean, no, Lord knows you already have 1 million, but I'm just saying it would just be even crazier.
Whoever gets first pick there, he's going first. It's a given. It's a given. It's not even. Don't even think about him going second. There's no way in hell.
Well,
there's no way in hell.
Well, we're talking about the bottom, but let's take it back to the top. Like, did you think Boston Milwaukee would have been head and shoulders above the rest of the league this early in the season?
No.
For both or for Boston?
Just for Boston.
Okay.
You know what? I'm not too surprised just because they went as far as they did, and usually when you make a run like you did and fall flat, like on your face that badly, you learn a lot from that experience. And I figured they would have learned a lot from that experience of losing as they did last year in the playoffs, in the finals.
Even with all the Ime Udoka shit?
Yeah.
Because
I didn't think they, you know what, I thought the Udoka thing would have threw them off a bit, but at the same time, I wouldn't. They're seasoned. Those guys have been there. Well, how long those 2 guys have been there together now? Actually,
it's about year 6.
The 3 of them. Yeah, the 3 of them. Because you got to throw in Smart. Like, he's a key to that thing as well. And then you throw in the kid from the Pacers, who's got some good experience. Yeah, like, even though Udoka isn't there, the players are on the court. Like, those guys are the ones who are putting in the work on the court. I'm not surprised where they're at. Those guys that went through the fire, they went through the fire already. So I'm not surprised where they're at right now. It's still early, and they're coming in with their team intact, ready to roll. The Udoka thing, that was a big thing, but I'm not surprised. Milwaukee,
which I still don't understand why they did that press conference. But go on. Sorry, go on, Anthony. I still don't understand why they did that press conference for Udoka. But go on. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing.
What about the loss of the defensive identity they had from last year? Though they're not that same defensive team they were from last year. Though that's why I said I'm shocked.
Okay.
Well, you know what? This league is about offense, so
not until you get, But once you get to the finals, that's a whole different ballgame, though.
Yeah, but we're talking about their start in the regular season. They'll make their name or not make their name again in the playoffs. We'll see what happens. But right now, coming into the regular season, it is what it is. It's the regular season. For some, it ain't shit. Right? So
I don't know. Like to me, I think one of the things I find amazing is that, I mean, if you guys remember, not even a year ago, maybe like 10 months, 11 months ago, every media pundit, every commentator, every analyst was calling for the breakup of Tatum and Brown.
I know. Which I didn't understand.
Everybody. And you know, I don't like to toot my own horn, but you know, I have to say I absolutely stated on at least a couple of these episodes that to me it never made sense, because I'm like, they're young, right? Like Brown and Tatum are so young still, even with all the accomplishments they got in terms of, you know, they made what prior to that talk, they made 2 conference finals. They were in, I think 2 in the last 3 years, something like that. They've been in the playoffs. They've been through wars. So it's like, why would you break that up? Like, it'd be one of those things if they were like, you know, going in their 8th or 9th year, it just seems like they're just not getting it. But at this point, they're still in year 4 or 5 or whatever it is, right? Like, why? Like, it's still a little too young to break that up together, especially when they're so young still. I never understood that, right? To see where everybody is now, where they're like, oh my God, they're the best team in the league and Tatum's the MVP and all this stuff. But I'm laughing because like 11 months ago, everybody wanted these guys to split up. And I just didn't think they'd be this dominant this fast, because honestly, I was unsure how they were going to respond to Mazzulla, right? But I guess because the structure that Ime put in, it's already in place. I think he's just kind of following the blueprint. But he's added some more things as well, too, right? And, you know, you add the gas of them losing in the finals, you know, especially with Tatum. People were talking shit about him. I remember you, Curtis, you made a point last summer where you were talking about how, if I remember correctly, you're talking about how Tatum needs to stop following Kobe and just be Tatum. I don't know if you remember. You remember that? Yeah.
That was one of my nuggets. Yeah.
Yeah, one of your few chicken nuggets. Yeah. But I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like, there was all those things that he had, like, where people were talking shit about him and the decision making and, you know, and trying to, like, you know, alter this spirit of Kobe into his body. It was like, okay, like, enough. And now he's like, he's just become Jason now. I think to me, it really speaks to their self-motivation just to get back to where they were. You know what I mean? And I got to credit Tatum because he cleaned up a lot of his shit. I got to credit him, though, man. But, like, to me, it's shocking that they're this good. Like, yeah, I'm not surprised that they're one of the top 2 teams in the East. But, like, them in Milwaukee right now, I mean, we expected Milwaukee to be who they are mainly because Giannis is just insane, right? But I didn't expect Boston to be this good. You know what I mean? Where, like, offensively, they're just tearing teams apart offensively.
Yeah, they are. They're doing really, really well. But, like, again, I think, you know, the only hiccup was with the Udoka thing. Mm-hmm. But I think adding Brogdon was huge. When they picked them up, I was like, wow, that's really, really a good pickup. You know, and I think the Brogdon thing, it probably helps Smart as well in his focus.
Yeah, he's been playing well this year too.
Yeah, he's been playing solid, consistent. He's always a consistent player. He plays hard nosed, and you know it's one of those guys you want on your team. But it was a consistency, and I think the Brogdon pickup, he was like, oh shit, you know what? I got to do right. You know, I got to do right, and it's worked. It's working, man.
Yeah, because he's still starting. I mean, most people thought when that trade happened, he was going to be coming back to coming off the bench, but he's kept his role. And to me, as far as like Milwaukee's concerned, like, you know, if you watch them play, they carry themselves like they're still the champs. You know, but I think with them, as long as they're healthy, I think they just believe that they're the best team in the league still. And, you know, and think about it. I mean, it took, you know, again, we all know they took Boston to 7 games without Middleton, right? So we all expected them to be at the top of the conference. They don't care about the top seed. I think they just care about just being healthy. Because the way they started the season, they were like 9-0, 10-0. And, I mean, you can just tell, like, it didn't matter who was there, like just the way they just toyed with teams. Like they play with this level of confidence that they know that, number one, we know how to win. We know how to lock teams up defensively, and we got a cheat code. We got Giannis as our cheat code because every night this guy's coming with it on both ends of the floor. He just doesn't stop. He doesn't care if he gets dunked on. He doesn't care if he airballs free throws. He's still going to give you 30, 13, and 6 on an average night. You know what I mean? Plus steals and blocks. And to me, he's not even having, like statistic-wise, he's actually having a slightly down year compared to like the last few years. But he keeps coming. You got Connaughton coming off the bench. They finally started playing Javon Carter. I think he's like a rabid dog defensively. They're the best defensive team in the league. You know, again, I'm not surprised by where they are, but the way you can see, like, when they're, like, now that Middleton is back and some of these guys are coming back, you're seeing a little bit of the struggle and having to gel again. But, you know, once like January, February, especially like March comes in, you know this is going to be like this team's going to flirt with winning 60 games again.
I think that Joe Ingles pickup is. I can't wait to see him on that squad.
Yeah,
healthy on that squad.
Yeah, because they're gonna get him back by like after the All-Star break, right?
Yeah, I think that was a huge pickup, man. An experienced vet like that who can still play. Yeah, that dude's tough.
To me, again, like at this stage, I think they're setting themselves apart from the rest of the rest of the conference, but really it's the rest of the league. As crazy as the West is, I don't see, at least right now, I don't see, like, do you guys see a team in the West that can knock these guys off right now?
Man, I can't think of anybody right now on top.
They should come out of the East. I can't see anybody. I mean, Giannis is, again, the cheat code, as you said. They got so many. Their depth is so good, though. I can't see anybody messing with them as long as they're all healthy. Middleton, Ingles, as long as they're all healthy, I think they're going to the finals.
Yeah, because I just, again, like I'm looking at the West right now. Right now, the top 4 teams in the West, you got Phoenix, the Pelicans, the Grizzlies. The Kings are really playing well so far, man. This is early, you know. But Denver, like even Denver, watching them last night play Dallas, like Denver always has this thing where, like, at the end of games when it's close, I never feel like they're gonna win. I always feel like something stupid is gonna happen with them. You know, and then last night again, like they made a bad defensive play, left Finney Smith open for the 3, and then they end up losing the game. But it's like they're always every time they get real close, I just never feel like they're gonna pull it out. But comparison to the rest of the league, like they're just, to me, those 2 teams right now. I'm still holding out hope for Golden State, but because it's early. But man, like, we're a quarter in, and I don't know. I'm thinking they can snap out of it, but I'm wondering when, because it's a little, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's early still, but I don't know. It's the way they play on the road is way different than how they play at home, and that's not the mark of a championship team. So before we wrap up, though, I want you guys to give me your surprise team and player that so far in the first quarter of the season. Bat, so I guess I'll start with you. Who do you got for your surprise team, like that's surprising you when you're watching them play? Not necessarily like best record, just like you thought, like you didn't think they were going to be that great, and they're better than what you expected coming in.
I might have to go with Cleveland.
Really?
I knew they were going to be good. I knew they're going to be good, but not this good. Like, they're a problem. In terms of, if we're talking about how their team is balanced, honestly, because Coach, when you just mentioned who could technically take out Milwaukee, I think that would be the team to give them the biggest challenge. Just because they have the legit big, you got Evan Mobley plays his role. Then you got, the small forward position is kind of up for grabs, but you can mix that up with either Okoro, plays strictly defense, throwing Karis LeVert, that can be defended. got issues. And then you look at the shooting guard position in terms of with Donovan Mitchell, he's playing better than he was when he was at Utah. Honestly, everyone mentioned about, is he a max player? And I was the first to say no, to be honest with you. And now the way he's playing with Cleveland, yeah, he looks like a max player now. Not only is he just scoring, but now he's actually distributing. I feel like he's hopped onto the defensive mindset because of those other guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you have Darius Garland, point guard, can score, but looks to distribute. And I think there's a lot of things that we're not even talking about in terms of their depth. Let's not forget about Ricky Rubio. Before he got injured last season, that guy was
he was balling.
Yeah.
He was playing crazy.
Yeah.
He had that whole something because he was balling in the national team too.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he came back and he kept it rolling. Then
you have experience with Kevin Love coming off, and then you got the other guys pretty much. Not saying that they're minuscule, but clearly they all have a role, they're a factor in the winning pedigree that's going on right now. And I would say right now they would be the surprise team because no one's really talking about them. In terms of the player, I don't really have a player really that's surprising. In terms of playing well, I would say I would like to take this and say a player that has kind of went downhill, and it's pretty surprising to me right now is actually Trae Young.
Really? Okay.
As I look at this guy on the screen right now, just watching like the numbers that he's on, I think DeJounte Murray's kind of messed up his flow in terms of how he plays the game. I think he's used to the usage of just him kind of running the show by himself.
Mm-hmm.
But now that it's kind of split up with DeJounte, I think it kind of just takes him out of the rhythm. And he seems to have a hard time trying to find that rhythm to get back to where he was or where he started off from last year. I don't know. And then now you hear that there's issues with him and the coach, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Which I thought was disappointing, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and he gave that blessing. Didn't he give the blessing for the DeJounte move?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, who has he really been playing with that has been on the same level as him? Really, I think he's been looking for that next player that kind of complement him. But DeJounte, I think his style of play is different. I don't think he was ready for his game in a sense.
Maybe the other star should have been a forward.
I would say so because I think it would have fed into his whole game because you break him down from the top, throw a lob.
Yeah, John Collins is waving at both of you guys like, "Hello, I'm here."
Absolutely. But I think John Collins, he wants too much though. I think he wants a bigger role that's not what Trae is necessarily ready to give up. And then now you bring DeJounte in. And now DeJounte is kind of like, well, nah, I'm going to get that role because really I could be just as efficient as you are. Maybe not so much on the scoring end, but in every other statistical category. Because he'll rebound, he'll dime up. But the most important thing that DeJounte does is play defense, which Trae does not do, which would make sense. And I think that's probably where Trae was like, yeah, I'm on board with this because I play zero defense, but this guy plays. So I don't have to worry about getting crushed by everybody because I don't play defense as well. I don't want to say that he'll never be able to play defense because that's the same storyline that was being said with Steph, and Steph has kind of picked that up. Mm-hmm. So I just don't think he's ready to take that role yet. So I think he's kind of, it's been difficult for him. It seems like it's been difficult for him.
It's interesting because you're looking at the stats, and on paper look at it, you're like, it's 20. He's averaging 20, almost 28, and he's averaging almost 10 assists a game. But then when you look at the use, not the usage, but the efficiency, he's only shooting 40% from the field and 30% from three, which is like actually pretty shocking.
Yeah, how much was low 30s?
No, 30s. He's actually to be technical, it's actually 29%.
Oh my God!
30% from three.
The thing is, I've actually been watching these Atlanta games. It's not even looking at it on paper with the stats. So just watching them, just body language.
Yeah, you can see the vibe.
Game. Yeah, he's not as aggressive as he once was.
Yeah, it's
like he's trying to spread the love between him and DeJounte, but yeah, it's completely throwing them off. It's not working.
It's kind of like they're taking turns a little bit. It's technically working so far because of the technically because they're the fourth best team in the conference, but I mean they're 13-11, so it's kind of a logjam for everybody else right now outside of the big two and then Cleveland, right? But to your point, yeah, like it's interesting to see. I think the shocking team right now I would say two teams for me would be the Pacers. Just because everybody thought the same thing, they were going to be, like wilding out for Wembanyama, but all of a sudden it's like they're 13-11 as well, and they're balling.
They're in fifth place.
Yeah, they're in fifth place. They're balling. The other team for me is they had some injuries, so they kind of came down a little bit, but and I'm saying this more just based on how they play, not so much on record, but I wasn't expecting Portland to be as entertaining, at least to me, to watch. I like watching Portland play.
Yeah. Hey, I only laugh because that's the West Coast, man. You better get it out of here, man. Dame Lillard's a killer.
No, I'm not talking about Dame. I'm not talking about Dame. I'm saying the team overall, though. The team overall is actually they're actually nice to watch. They play hard. They're smart. They're smart offensively. Like they go.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like Dame Lillard on that team, everyone keeps talking about, oh, he's too loyal. Nah, I think he already saw what was within that team to begin with. Even when you'd ask to put in these picks on where do you think these teams ranked out at, I think every list I've given you, I think I had Portland at least in the play-in. They weren't quite there yet, but they had the pieces. It's just that they need that other person to actually come in and do the job. And I think that pickup with Jeremy Grant was huge because now you got somebody he can play the ball both sides. I think now they're more focused on him just playing a more offensive role. And then you got Nurkic that can do the exact same thing. He cleans up the glass. They made the trade with CJ McCollum because they knew, hey, listen, man, we got another guy coming up in Anthony Simons. And
Anthony, I didn't know about Anthony Simons. And, he put me on, man. That kid can play. He can flat out score the ball.
Yeah.
And he doesn't seem uncomfortable while he's doing it either. It's almost like he's been waiting for this to happen.
Yeah, you can see the tutelage from Dame and CJ as well, like in his game. You can see it. You can see the level of confidence he plays with. You can see like both of those players had an influence on him. You can see it. And also on top of that, they got 3 players on that team averaging over 20 a night. Right? Between Dame's Anthony and then Jeremy Grant, right? Like they got three players averaging over 20. And I wasn't expecting that to happen. You know what I mean? And then we didn't even talk about Shaedon Sharpe yet. We didn't even talk about Shaedon. Like the potential that kid has.
Yeah, he's got some time.
Yeah, but I like the position he's in because there's no rush for him to be great.
Exactly.
I love that position. He's in a really good spot.
And I've been saying from day one, what I love is that like you're gonna find a few better players that's gonna embrace a young guy that's gonna embrace sharing his time like a Dame. For a guy like Shaedon Sharpe to be under somebody, to watch somebody like Dame work out and perform every day, pick his brain, like like that to me is like it's a godsend for him. And I always said, and you're in a quiet market. Portland's not a big market, so you don't have a lot of distractions, nightlife, clubs. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have a ton of stuff going on in Portland where it's like you're going to be totally distracted from being off your game, right? So in comparison to like a New York and a LA and those type of things, right?
I'm glad you said that.
Well, yeah, you gotta let me finish making my sentence.
Yeah. Reel that back.
No, but I'm saying though, like you don't have those distractions that would like, for certain players that might, hey, you know what, maybe they might get caught up with this thing or that thing, and you know what I mean? But like where he's at, the player that he's under, that's a unique combination, man. I love it for him. And he's winning the dunk contest. More, though.
I don't know, man. Listen, there's a couple people that there's some people that no one's talking about with the dunk competition. He's one of them, especially. I don't think anybody can touch him. But there's some other people with some sneak bounce, like this Trey Murphy kid from New Orleans. Hey, he's been doing some things.
What the hell?
He almost took some souls from people from the Raptors.
You saw the double pump he did the other day?
Oh my gosh, yo, this guy's different, man.
And he can shoot the ball too. He can play.
Yeah.
Oh, the Pelicans are solid, man. The Pelicans are solid, and they haven't really been totally healthy. Because I mean, I have Ingram on my fantasy team. He's missing a bunch of time so far. You know what I mean? And
So let me give you my picks here before I lose my train of thought. Getting old. but for me, it's I'll go the other way with it. To me, it's the Warriors. That's a surprise team for me. Yeah. I was one that was preaching that the Warriors are going to come out on fire this year because the young kids are gonna step up into the forefront, and they're gonna be allowed to step up in the forefront and do their thing. I don't know. Right now, I would love to be a fly on the wall in the Warriors organization to fully understand what the hell happened with the progression of these guys that I was expecting to take a big jump this year. These young cats. I don't know what happened, but ultimately something did happen. I mean, sending a young boy back to the league, down to the G League.
They just called him back up too.
They just brought him back up. I thought he was going to be a big reason why they're going to take that big jump. You know, so to me, that's my surprise team, and that's my surprise team. I'm confused to why they're playing who they're playing at what time, and some games guys are like getting 5 minutes or 10 minutes a game, and I'm like, I can't figure it out why it's happening. Kerr and them are smart people, so I have to say something is going on that we're not seeing, that we can't figure out, we can't relate to, and that's why it's happening.
Because it's not like just one player too. It's like it's like three of them, right?
Yeah. But it's like the three guys, young guys that I expected to take a big leap and taking the mantle from the next group of guys from. Can you hear me, or did I just?
No, I can hear you still.
No. Yeah.
So that's my surprise team, anyhow. In regards to my surprise individual, I would say Lauri Markkanen.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I would say Lauri Markkanen. I think he's, from this summer, I was peaking him, and it's just funny because, Batch, I agree with you with the Cleveland pick. I really enjoy watching Cleveland play, and I think they're going to do really well this year. And I think their future is crazy bright. I love their players. What's his name is almost a bigger surprise to me. Like you, Abash, I was like, why they traded Markkanen for this guy? Because I really like Markkanen from the beginning. I was like, why are they trading this guy? This guy he's got length when he's on the court with those other two guys. Remember last year with Markkanen, Mobley, and Jared Allen? Like, that was crazy. Like, it was a joke watching them on the court.
Couldn't go into the paint at all.
Not at all. It was crazy. Well, it was beautiful watching it. So I was like, why did they give up Markkanen? This guy's going to be a really good player. But Donovan Mitchell surprised me because I just thought he was just a scorer. He came on this team. I didn't think he was a leader at all. He comes on this team. He's walking and talking the game. He's looking like a leader, playing like a leader, passing the ball, which I never thought he was interested in doing. So he surprised me this year, but still, Markkanen is my biggest surprise. And it's funny that they got traded for each other. They got flipped for each other. But Markkanen, what he's doing right now, he's like, around 23 a game. He's shooting 50-something from the field, 40-something from the three-point line, 80-something from, from the stripe. I mean, this kid he's balling, man. He's balling.
I'll tell you too. I got two players, and they're both on the same team. Benny Math, I like to call him Benny Math, aka Benedict Mathurin, and Tyrese Halliburton, because Halliburton, first of all, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. I'll tell you why I'm not surprised about Mathurin, though.
I know, but let me finish my point though. But like the reason why I'm saying is because I think Halliburton might be a top 5 point guard in the league. This guy's leading the league in assists. He's also 5th in steals. He's averaging 19 19 points and 11 assists a game with 5 boards. The shooting splits is crazy. He outright controls games. The stats he's putting up now is kind of like those the elite point guards of the 90s, like Kevin Johnson, Tim Hardaway, Mark Price, where they're giving you 20 and 10. You know, like he's dangerously close to playing at that level right now, which I like him. Don't get me wrong. I think Halliburton is really nice. The funky shot, I don't understand it, but he makes it work. But I didn't expect him to be this good. Like he outright controls games when he's in it. But Mathurin, though, I didn't think he was gonna come on this strong, this fast. And I mean, and I don't talk about game-wise, I mean mentally, because we've heard the stories of how hard he plays, but the way he backs up his words. I mean, this guy's averaging 18 points coming off the bench. Off the bench. That's crazy. Like I did not see that coming for Mathurin. I did not.
He can be rookie of the year. He has a chance to be rookie of the year. I think Paolo's going to get it, but he's right there, and he can win Sixth Man of the Year.
Yeah.
Yes,
But I'm not surprised at Mathurin though, because remember Batch, I told you.
From day one. From day one, when he was at Arizona, from Arizona, he was mentioning, he was talking about him. He's like, yo, this kid's a real deal. You got to watch him, man.
The kid, because he just plays. I mean, you know, because of Jalen, you know, watched that conference, and I watched that kid too many times, and after the second or third time, I'm like, yo, this kid's for real, man. This kid's for real, and his attitude, his confidence he's got Jordan confidence. Like, it's crazy for me to say, but he actually believes he's that good in himself. He actually believes that highly in himself.
He does.
Mm-hmm. He does. Like I'm telling you, he does. The kid actually thinks if Jordan was playing now, he would think he would bust Jordan's ass. That's his mentality.
You gotta love it.
How do you feel about that comment he made about LeBron, though?
Yeah, I know, right?
But then when they played each other,
he showed up. He outplayed him. Yeah. On stat wise, anyhow.
Yeah, I mean it's one game, but just the fact that he wasn't afraid of the moment.
Yeah,
and neither was that Nembar kid. I think that might be another discussion.
That's another surprise one too. Which that's an amazing story. Like I think what probably his proudest moment he'll have for the season, or one of the proudest moments he'll have at least, is busting that step back in Steph Curry's face and Steph's face after. I don't know if you guys caught that with Steph. Where he made the three and Steph looked back at him like, yo, what the hell is going on here?
I didn't see his face. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
clip.
when you see that clip, it's like I'm like he's gonna have to like have that just on his phone, just playing it over and over again. You know what I mean? Because Steph just had this look on his face like, what? And just kind of shook his head like, you know. And I'm like, yo, Nemar is doing his thing, man. Like, wow, second round pick. Well, first pick of the second round, but. Yo, man.
I'm happy for him because he's a good family. His dad's a good dude, and his dad put in the work. You know, with him and his brother. His brother Ryan is kicking ass too, man.
Yeah.
His brother Ryan is. That kid was freshman of the year in the Big East, and he came out this year, and he's just kicking ass again. He's bought like this kid. Ryan Nemhard. Look him up if y'all don't know, man. This kid at Creighton he's real. He's playing. He's one of the better guards in the country right now, like straight up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like his pops. Credit to his pops, man. He must be proud as hell. He's got 2 boys on their way, man, doing big things.
Yeah, but
good people, good family.
And like I said, and then look, I mean the Pacers benefit. They got 3 Canadians on that team, right? You still got Bichette as well, and he's doing his. He's playing his role right over there right now, and. Betty Math, man, I like to call him, but shit, Curtis, I did not see that coming. Like mentally, I didn't see that coming. I thought he would get that shock first and then come with it. You know what I mean? Like get used to the game, but he's just come on like gangbusters. And then there was a game, I think they're playing Denver earlier this year, and he dropped about 25 in the first half. Easy. Like it was easy. Off the bench too. Easy.
I knew they were in trouble once he told Jalen that he was pissed he didn't go first.
Oh, is that what he told him?
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, he was like, he should have gone first. He thought, I'm like, yeah, this kid is, he's going to give you guys some problems. He's going to give you guys some problems.
I love that. That's awesome. Again, we knew what Paulo was going to do, and I'm not saying Matthew was going to have a good year, but man, like, I mean, he's doing this off the bench. Like, that to me is what's crazy. Like, most rookies don't score like that off the bench.
But you got to remember, look how dominant Arizona was last year.
Mm-hmm.
They were dominant. They were like a dominant. At one part of the year, they were like the dominant team in the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
He was by far their best player.
Yeah, and he was a dog too.
And the energy. And what I like about him is the energy he brings to it. Like every game, he was engaged. Like he wasn't. Every game, like he played like it was his last game. But they were the dominant team, and he was their dominant player. And it wasn't even close to say that it's somebody else who, like, he shared the notoriety with somebody else. No, he was their best player every time on that team.
Mm-hmm.
That energy he brought, that like every possession he wanted it. You know, every matchup, every big game, he showed out. You know, so I'm not surprised. The kid, you know, bless him, man. The kid is a good player, man, and you know he's from Montreal, so hats off.
And then
he's got a huge career ahead of him.
And then the team blessed him with his mama's cooking. First game of the year. Like, how are you not gonna have a strong year right off the top? How is he not gonna have a strong year right off the top? You know, when you get mama's cook, like a team meal for mama's cooking. Jeez. But on I guess on that note, fellas, we could wrap it up here, man. But both of y'all, man, thank you for hopping on another edition of the Ave, man.
Thanks for having me.
And watch the feelings about the West Coast, man. You ain't even from Portland. I don't even understand why you thought I was shading
It's
Portland.
called the Pacific Northwest. Please do not disrespect. I appreciate that.
I'm showing love to Portland. I'm showing love, man. I do, but honestly, I do enjoy watching them play, though. That's all on all seriousness. I do enjoy watching them, but I don't know how far they're gonna go. But Chauncey's doing a good job. You got to give him that.
I think right now my favorite team to watch is Cleveland. Right now, I really enjoy watching Cleveland.
Yeah, I would say so too. And honestly, like, I know you guys are shocked with Mitchell, but like, Mitchell's been through some playoff wars, man. Like, that guy's had some huge games. So I can't say I'm totally shocked by what he's doing, just because, like, he's been through them wars, man, and he's come out of on the other side. Like, I know they flamed out the last couple of years, but you couldn't really say, oh, it's because of this guy. Like, it was more the team. Even the year when they were number 1 overall and they lost to the Clippers.
But he never carried himself like a leader, though.
Yeah, I'll give. I'll give you that. And no Raptor love. No Raptor love. You gotta be ashamed of yourself, Anthony. Real ashamed.
No, but come on. I'll give the Raptors love. No problem with that. But the thing is, right now, just let the season go. We'll just let it roll. Right now, I think again it comes back to if we're gonna keep it real, Cleveland's gonna be a problem, man. And Toronto in a 7-game series, and may not happen, man. If I gotta be honest,
I just want to see them healthy. They just got to get healthy, like in terms of just playing like a good 20-30 game stretch where they're just all playing together. You know, no nagging injuries with Barnes, no injuries with Siakam. Like, you want to see them all playing like at least a good month stretch where they're just all healthy and hooping. We haven't really seen that in 2 years.
I'm happy if that OG seemed to finally turn a corner.
You would almost think it's a contract year run.
What's that?
You would almost think he's a free agent next summer.
You know, like I was like, wow, finally.
I think there might be some talk in house. I think that trade stuff is still lingering.
The what? Sorry.
The trade. I think the trade talk's still lingering.
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Lastly, again, I know we're wrapping up, but we're gonna leave, but. I still think the Raptors, I've been saying this earlier, I still think there's a big trade coming with them. If not this season, next season. It'll be next season. But there's a trade coming. There's a trade coming with that team. We just don't know who it's going to be yet, but somebody big is coming to Toronto, I feel.
Listen, I think we had our one time. I think that will never happen again. And I'm saying that because I'm pretty sure that the commissioner will say we're not going to have another Kawhi situation. We cannot afford to have another win coming out of that city.
Famous last words.
Honestly, man, because to this day, I think Kawhi destroyed the whole league with that last second shot.
Yeah, that was as much ball as I played. I think that was my best basketball moment.
100%.
As much ball as I played, that was my favorite basketball moment there.
Thank you for listening to the latest episode of the Ave Podcast. And special thanks to Big Brother Curtis and Anthony Batchelor for coming on the Ave and breaking down some of the subplots of the first quarter of the NBA season, from Bol Bol to Shai. All right, I'm going to be off next week, so there will be no show. But there will be one the week after, well, just before the holidays kick in. And then we're going to kick in the door for the new year, all right? So click on the subscribe buttons, hit that like button, leave those reviews and those comments. And plus, check out SouthShoreAve.com for all things South Shore Ave, all right? That is SouthShoreAve.com. For Anthony Batchelor and Big Brother Curtis, this is Cal C. And you just tuned into the latest episode of the Ave Podcast right here on South Shore Ave Radio. All right, so until the following week, have a great weekend. We out of here. Peace.